What is up? Welcome to another weekend of CF Students. We are so glad you are here. My name is Jared.
My name's Griffin. What's
And
up, guys?
this is so good and
This is
so
so
weird.
great. So
I'm excited
succinct.
for this morning. I hope you guys are too. We have an amazing Sunday coming. Todd's going to be teaching here in a little bit. We have some amazing worship. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm going a little crazy during COVID.
A little crazy,
A
huh?
little crazy. I mean,
I've noticed.
the 2 weeks have turned into 5 months of shelter in place here in the Yay area, as it was known when I was in high school.
Come on,
And
man.
yeah, got to rep the Bay. So I've resorted to some weird games in my house.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Have you? I mean, you don't have like.
Why don't you educate me?
So for
go.
example, we have played hide and seek so much that now we've actually started a new game, and it's
So
called.
you guys are like experts in
Yes.
the art of hide and seek.
We are, but we've
Wow.
actually started this new game called Hide and Seek Fight. And the way it works is when you get found, so everyone goes hide, someone counts, but once you get found, then you fight after you find them, because that's what my children want to do.
Okay, wow. So you're promoting violence in your home.
100%.
We don't
yes.
condone that here. Nah, I'm just kidding.
And it's
Well-
it's like play fighting. It's not real fighting, except I mean there is the occasion where my 5-year-old does actually punch someone for real. But
Great.
yeah, I'm like more
Love
power
that.
to her.
We actually have a clip here. No, I'm just kidding. Wait, there's no clip.
of Kinley.
Yeah.
Kinley's actually 6, but you know what I mean. She had a birthday over COVID. Who keeps
Yeah.
track anymore?
Wow.
But we actually have a weird game for you guys. Have you ever played like the Jelly Belly tasting game? Or
I'm
anything like that?
familiar.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
So I've done these like blind food. You know, like who even eats dinner normally anymore? I eat it blindfolded. And I just have my wife put random things in front of me,
Wow,
and it's like I gotta
interesting.
guess.
Wow, you guys. I love the household games and
Yeah.
interactions you guys
It's
have
the
going
only way to stay
This is
stay
great.
sane. So we actually have a game this morning called Guess That Pork Rind. I bought these a few months ago, and they've just been sitting in my car. And Griff didn't really
Lovely.
want to play this game. It's
Nope,
more me forcing him
Not
to
one
do
bit.
it.
Not even
So
a little bit.
we're gonna play Guess the Flavor of this pork rind. So it's gonna be the honor system. Griff and I are going to close our eyes,
Honor system, guys.
okay, and then we're gonna pick a pork rind out of the bag, and then we'll eat it and have to guess what flavor it is. And this is really a dumb game, but I hope it's humorous for you guys, because Griff really doesn't want to play, which is making me feel even happier inside.
As you could tell, I'm really enthusiastic about this game, and so I'm just excited to be here, guys.
Yes. And don't worry, all the pork rinds have been sanitized. So may mess with the flavor a little bit. All right, you guys ready? Okay, first up, your eyes closed, Griff. My eyes
Yeah.
are closed.
Yeah.
All right, is the bag in? Oh, here's the bag. I'm gonna go
So-
first. So you're just gonna
okay.
reach. Hold on, I'm grabbing a
I
small
thought it was
one.
gonna be like one of those things
Here,
where
grab the pork rind,
Okay, one-
Griff. All right,
yes.
we're gonna eat it.
I got a really big one.
Well,
Oh, people eat these
yeah,
in
This
their
is-
own free will.
I know. It's the problem is they're kind
That's
of addicting.
disgusting.
I'm gonna guess.
Chili, barbecue.
I'm gonna guess barbecue as well. Yeah, as a barbecue aftermath. Was that?
Yeah.
Can we get a thumbs up? Was that a thumbs up?
I don't know why my eyes were closed that whole experience. I just.
Oh,
really wanted
I've been
to-
keeping my eyes closed too. I just
Wow.
opened them.
Okay.
Was that barbecue?
Yeah, barbecue
All right.
was.
All right, next flavor. All right, close your eyes, Griff. Next flavor
All right.
is the bag. Oh,
Bag.
oh, sorry.
Well, I just touched your hand.
I know.
Whoa.
All right,
Kind
I
of
got a
just
small one.
connected on another level there. All right, this is a smaller piece.
It tastes exactly the same as the last one.
Do you enjoy these?
No, I don't. That's why we're eating them for this.
Ah.
That's why I've been in my car for like 5
I
minutes.
don't even know what that is.
I'm gonna guess jalapeno. I think it's like jalapeno.
Yeah, some spicy jalapeno. Oh, there it is. There's that after. My eyes
Wow.
were still closed. I don't know. I just was really immersed into the
Was it jalapeno?
pork rind experience.
Okay, jalapeno.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of
2
weird.
for
What
2.
is a pork rind? All right, next one. Number 3.
Well, I
got
touched your
it.
hand again.
I know.
Whoa.
I felt the connection.
I know.
Oh my god.
I have no clue.
Okay.
Not even like a. If they
I'm
have
gonna
like
guess,
a
like,
base flavor of
garden flavor.
garden flavor.
I don't know. I don't know why. you guys
Garden
are so close.
flavor.
I don't know.
I have no idea. I'm
Original,
not even
maybe? I
gonna guess.
don't
Yeah,
know.
original flavor. What?
First
Wow,
one was chili.
that's great.
That was barbecue. Interesting.
Well, it was great.
Well, yeah, we can go throw those away now.
Yeah, let's do that.
Tell us in the chat who here eats. Well, I can't even talk anymore. Who here eats pork rinds? And also, what is a pork rind? I don't fully understand.
I don't want to know actually.
Yeah,
I'd
Todd,
rather
you know what a pork
not
rind
know.
is? Oh, yeah. Just so you're wondering, Todd's just laying on the ground here. But you guys, we're so, we're so glad you guys are here this morning. We are going to head it over to a time of worship right now, you guys. So join us wherever you're at. Just sing some praise and worship God with us.
I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise and treasures that fade are never enough. Then you came along and put me back together. Every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. Your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. And you turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you.
Well, what's up, guys? Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, as we know, COVID has been pretty brutal. But if you're honest, I bet you there's some times where you've actually gotten things done that you didn't have time to do before, or maybe you spent some good time with your family, or you've done things that COVID has actually allowed you to do things. For me, it was cleaning out the garage. I had it on my list. I was going to clean out the garage, and for months it was like, I'm going to clean out the garage. I'm going to do it. And I didn't do it. but now I have no excuse to not do it. And so I started cleaning out the garage, and I found this box, and this box was full of a bunch of old tech equipment. Right? It was kind of funny as I was looking through it. It was like old digital cameras and old cords that like were really necessary for the computers that I had years ago. And I'm looking at all this stuff that I saved up and I bought and was just really important to me, and none of it had a purpose anymore. Like this entire box of stuff that once was so awesome just sat there, and it was purposeless, right? It was kind of depressing to look at this, and I think that's kind of what purposeless does, is it leads to depression. It leads us to a spot where we're like, what the heck? Right, my family, they went camping, and they're camping right now, and I'm going to join them later. But yesterday, all day at home, I was there by myself. I didn't have anyone to cook for. I didn't have anyone to clean up after, and I felt lost, right? I felt like this box of tech equipment, like, man, I just don't have a purpose. Like, I don't even know what to do right now. And I think we can all relate when it comes to COVID. Maybe for a lot of you, you've felt purposeless over this season, right? You've just been like, I don't know what to do. I've been lost, and in turn, for some of you, that's led to depression, right? It's depressing to not have a purpose. But the truth is that every single one of us has a purpose. You've been uniquely created on purpose for a purpose. Not just individually, right? Individually, yes, you have a purpose, but collectively, as a body of believers, you and I have a purpose. If you call yourself a follower of Jesus. Now, some of you, maybe that's not you. Maybe you don't call yourself a Christian. Maybe you're not there, and that's okay. That's great. I'm glad that you're watching. I'm glad that you're joining with us. But for those of you who call yourself a Christian, you have a purpose. You have a mission. Right? Jesus laid it out for us, and he said, hey, here's your mission. Right? Jesus is about to ascend into heaven. He's about to leave this earth. He's gone through living on this earth. He's gone through doing ministry on this earth. He's gone through hanging out with his disciples. He's gone through the cross, death, burial, and resurrection. And as he's leaving this earth, he's like, man, I just want to let you guys know this. As he's ascending to heaven, he says in Matthew 28:19, therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. He's like, here it is, man. Here's your mission. Before I leave, I want to let you know your mission is to reach people for me, to go and to reach people who don't know, make disciples, teach them to follow me. People who maybe aren't like you, people who don't go to church, people who are not following the same rules that you are, go and reach those people. He says that is your mission. He gave us that mission. Right, there was a guy in the Bible who really understood this, and he took that and he ran with it. This guy's name is Paul. Paul's the guy who wrote most of the New Testament. He wrote a lot of the New Testament, right? And this guy before, he was not that guy. In fact, he persecuted Christians. He thought he was following the law. He thought he was doing things right. He was studying the Word of God, but he didn't actually live it until he had an encounter with Jesus. Paul has an encounter with Jesus, and from that moment forward, he starts actually living it out. And he says this in 1 Corinthians 9:23. He says, I do all this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings. He said, everything I do, like literally my whole life, is about this thing called the gospel. And what the word gospel means is it means good news. The good news of Jesus is my mission to tell other people, and everything I do in my life is about that. He said again in Romans 1:16, he says, I'm unashamed of the gospel. Like, I don't care what people think. I don't care what people say. I don't care about any of that. My mission is to reach people for Jesus. Right? To reach people for Jesus. And Paul didn't just take that and go, okay, Jesus said that was the mission, then I'm going to do it. And it stops there. He said, man, I need to let other people know that that's not just the mission that I was given. It's the mission for everyone. He says it this way in 2 Corinthians 5:20. He writes these words. He says, we are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. Right? Let me just explain this. What this means is that God's plan for the world is you. God's plan is you. God could have sent Jesus and said, no, you know what, Jesus, you're not coming back up here. You're going to stay there, and you're going to tell everyone. But instead, God's plan, God, who's in charge of everything, who's all-powerful, who's all-knowing, his plan is you. Right? Not only should that make us feel like, wow, that's amazing, but it should also be something that we take serious. Our mission is to reach the world. Our mission is to take what God has ordained and God has set into place and to put feet to it with the world around us. Like, how awesome is that you and I have the mission to reach the world for Jesus? Problem is this, though. A lot of Christians have taken the mission that's meant for the world around us, and we've turned it inward and focused it all on us. This might be like beating you up a little bit right now if you're a Christian and you're like, man, but I'm a church kid. Like, I've gone to church my whole life. I want to kind of twist that a little bit for you right now in this series that's called Love Others and talk about what this actually means. And here's the question that we have to ask. Again, if you're a Christ follower, if you call yourself a Christian, you must ask this question. Are we here to make ourselves happy, or are we here for a purpose? We got a little light that just went out, right? It's like a light bulb moment. We're going to fix it. Don't worry. It's coming back on, but we're just going to keep going here because that question is so important. The question is, are we here to make ourselves happy, or are we here for a purpose? And that's something that we have to wrestle with. Are we here just to be like, okay, I got what I wanted when it came to church or when it came to whatever, or are we here for a purpose? And so I want to talk about what it means to live out this mission, because the first thing is this, is our mission isn't tied to our situation. Our mission isn't tied to our situation. How many of you guys know that COVID has been hard? Right? Raise your hand wherever you're at. If you're in the kitchen, if you're in your living room, if you're at a watch party right now, raise your hand if you know that COVID has been hard. There we go. Light coming back on. Perfect. Right? COVID has been hard, and I've been pretty honest with you guys. I've lost it a few times, right? Like, I've lost it on my kids. I've lost it on my wife, right? I've lost it when it came to, like healthy eating. There's been days where I've had cake for, 4 meals a day. Like, I didn't even know there was 4 meals, but I had cake, all 4 of them, right? Like, I've lost it during COVID. It's been hard. I've been lazy. For a lot of you, you've slipped into depression. Like, this season of COVID has not been easy. But just because we're in quarantine, just because we're in a COVID season, just because we're in this difficult time, doesn't mean that we can't fulfill our mission. Right? Our mission is not tied to our situation. God has given us his mission. He doesn't go, okay, wait, but right now you're just in COVID, so all I want you to do is just focus on you. You do you, boo. Right? That's all you need to do right now. No, he's like, you have a mission. Right? Paul is the guy that I look at because Paul said, man, everything I do is for this mission. Did you know that Paul found himself in a situation way worse than COVID, way worse than quarantine? It was called prison. Like, Paul was literally in jail. And you know what Paul did in jail? He wasn't like, wow, let's just pause this mission. Paul actually wrote the Bible in jail. Do you know that when you're reading some of the Bible, Paul wrote that while he was in jail, while he was in a bad situation? He wrote some of the Bible in jail. Not only that, here's what we know about Paul is in jail is he didn't just say, okay, pause, just got to wait till I get out so I can tell people about Jesus. The guards and the other prisoners heard about Jesus from Paul so much that some of them actually converted to being a Jesus follower. While Paul is in prison, he's like, man, you know what? My situation sucks, but my mission is more important. Just because you're in a bad situation doesn't mean that you don't have a mission. You have a mission even though you're in quarantine, even though we're in COVID, even though it doesn't look like it did 6 months ago, you still have a mission. You still have a mission. And again, you might have to get creative with that mission. You might get creative with how you carry it out and what you do. But Jesus said, man, hey, here's your mission. It doesn't matter your situation. You need to be reaching people for Jesus. Problem is this, and what we have to realize and what we have to remember is that we must value the mission over our comfort. We must value the mission over our comfort. See, sometimes doing what God has asked is way harder than not doing what God has asked. Right? You know what I mean? I mean like this. Like, sometimes when my wife asks me to do the dishes, it's way easier to not do the dishes. I'm like, yeah, life's going to be a lot easier if I just don't do sometimes when my wife asks me to take the trash out, it's a lot easier to not take the trash out. Sometimes when my wife asks me to clean out the car or to wash the car, it's a lot easier to not do it. Sometimes when God asks us to do things, it's a lot easier to not. When he asks us to tell others about him, it's a lot easier for us to just be like, no, you know what, I'm not going to do it because that's kind of hard. When he asks us to love others and to go out of our way to love others, a lot of times it's a lot easier to just be like, no, I'm actually not going to. It's a lot easier to not do what God has called us to do. But again, we must value the mission over our comfort. Right? The mission needs to have more value than what we think about ourselves. But for a lot of Christians, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be hard. We've prioritized our comfort over the mission. But I like doing it the way that I've been doing it. I've been doing it this way for so long. But I like it when it's just my Christian friends and then that are around me. It makes me feel really comfortable. Oh, it's just so much easier to sit in my room and just read my Bible instead of actually go tell somebody about Jesus. I told you I was going to push some buttons. I told you it's a little challenging. But we must value the mission over our comfort, which means this. It means that the mission should be informing our decisions. All the decisions that you make, your actions, the words that come out of your mouth to the people around you, right? Including your parents right now during lockup. You're like, man, I'm stuck inside with them all day. And maybe you've said things to them that are not being informed by the mission, but instead informed by your comfort and what you feel, right? Our mission needs to inform our social medias. What you post, right? What you see on social media, what you send somebody else, what you ask somebody else to send you. That got a little real. Is that informed by the mission, or is that informed by your comfort? Right? That your level of involvement, gosh, this is so hard because as quarantine has gone by, we've seen the trends, and for those of you watching, you've seen the trends of viewers go down, right? Our viewers have gone down. And so, again, for those of you watching, man, thank you for joining us. And this is a lot more focused on the people that aren't watching, so this isn't even towards you because you're here and you're watching. But it's kind of weird to just watch church online. But if your focus is the mission over your comfort, you're able to take something that you go, man, this isn't what I like, this isn't what I want, and go, but this is the mission. And I'm able to place the mission over my comfort, your level of involvement. Right? When the mission is over your comfort, it informs your level of how well you are doing with being uncomfortable. I'm kind of uncomfortable with that. Because here's the thing. Inviting someone to church, it's uncomfortable. It's weird. That's why a lot of people don't do it. It's because it's like, man, I don't want to share Jesus with them because I don't know what to say. It's kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. How do you even bring it up? I don't want to invite someone because it's kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. I don't even know how to bring it up. I don't want to send someone the link to this message, to this church service, because it's kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. And so what we do is we value our comfort over the mission. But if Jesus' mission is like, hey, you know what? I want to reach people. We have to ask ourselves, do you value the mission over your comfort? Because too many Christians make Christianity all about them instead of about Jesus. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm like beating you guys up right now. I know that's intense. I know that's hard. I know that some of you might feel uncomfortable with me telling you that you're too comfortable. I get it. It's not easy. It's something we all need to work through. But what does that look like, man? As Jesus is saying, hey, here's the thing. Our mission is to love others. Our mission is to reach others. And the way that we do that, Jesus said it. He's like, man, love your neighbor. Love your neighbor. That's how we complete the mission that he set us on. So how do we do that? We have to look for open doors. Again, raise your hand. How many of you know open doors are easier to get through? How many of you know it's easier to get through an open door than a closed door? All right, some of you know where this is going. I was at a family party a few years ago. Whole family's outside. We're all eating outdoors, and somebody was like, hey, Todd, can you go get this for me inside? And I'm like, yeah, of course I can go get this for you inside. But I didn't just like say, hey, I'm going to get this for you inside. I stood up and made a big deal about it because I'm a funny guy. That's what I do. And so everyone outside is looking at me, and I made a scene to make sure that I was the center of attention because I love being the center of attention. And so as everyone's watching me, I'm like, I'm going to run inside and get this as fast as I possibly can. I don't know. It was like silverware or something, whatever it was. It was like, and so I made it into a race. And I'm like, I'm going to run as fast as I can. So I take off sprinting for the door, right, with sliding glass door open, running towards it. and I jump as I go over the little step to go inside the house. And as I'm in the air flying towards the door, that's when I realize the screen door is closed. Right? But I'm literally in the air running full speed. I hit the door, and as I hit the door like flexed in and like springboarded me out. It was like a trampoline on its side. I was just literally like, poof, and then I flew back, landed down, like the door was stuck closed because it like bent in. My entire family was laughing at me. I got up and tried to play it off, but my like nose was crooked. Like it was brutal, right? And I learned a super important lesson. It's a lot easier to go through an open door than a closed door, right? Not very earth-shattering. You guys all know that, but it's a lot easier to go through an open door. And the same goes for people, the people around us. And if our job is to push Jesus' mission forward, what we need to do is we need to be looking for open doors. We need to be looking for opportunities to spread the mission of Jesus, to spread Jesus with other people. Right? In someone's life, there are people that are going through things that present as open doors. It's an open door that we need to go through. People that are open to hearing the good news, but not only just open to hearing the good news, open for us to love them. What an open door looks like is this. Maybe it's your neighbor's lawn that's like 2 feet high. And what that is that's an open door for you to go, man, if my job is to love others and my neighbor's lawn is 2 feet high and I have a lawnmower, you're like putting these together. You're like a mathematician here and you're going, I can mow their lawn as an opportunity to show them love. Right? What an open door looks like is it looks like that friend maybe that you haven't talked to in a while and it just sending an encouraging text. This is a perfect opportunity. Just send them an encouraging text. Send them something right now. There's an open door waiting for you to do that. Right, maybe it's bringing your neighbor dinner. Maybe it's baking cookies and bringing them to me. I love cookies. Or somebody else. I don't know. But maybe it's doing something like that. Maybe it's sending them a link to this service. See, there's open doors. There's people around you that are going through things, that are dealing with things. And when you're missional minded and you're going, man, I'm here to fulfill this mission. When you see an open door, you got to go through it. Opportunities to love people, inviting people over to watch the service. Inviting them to a watch party. If you're attending a watch party, going, hey, you know what? This is an open door. It's an easy invite. I'm going to invite one of my friends to this. Even though it might be hard, even though it might be uncomfortable. The reason I'm going to do it is because I value the mission over my comfort. The reason I do it is because just because I'm in quarantine doesn't mean that my mission doesn't move forward. Our situation is not tied to our mission. And there's an open door. See, we've been given a mission and we didn't get to choose it. Right? It's like in the military, if a commander says, hey, here's your mission, the soldier doesn't get to go, hey, I don't want to do that. They don't get that option. We've been given a mission and we don't get to choose it, but we do get to execute it. And it's so awesome that God has entrusted us with his mission. God's plan for the world, God's plan for the earth, God's plan for the spread of the gospel, that good news, it's you, it's me. Right? God didn't say, you know what? I'm just going to come back and tell everybody. He's going to come back. But at that point, you better know. You better have done your part because he's not coming back going, hey, I want to let people know about me. He's coming back saying, hey, who already knows about me? And so that's why it's important that you and I understand our mission and take our mission seriously. You guys have been entrusted with an amazing, amazing mission. And my prayer for you and my hope for you is that you would take it seriously, that we wouldn't allow it to be something that gets confused with our comfort and with like, hey, but this is how we like it, and here's what we want to do, and here's how we make ourselves feel good. But instead we go, you know what, I'm going to step out for the sake of the gospel, for the sake of the good news, to be a part of what God has commissioned us in this life to do, to have that purpose, so that you don't end up like that box of tech equipment that goes, man, they were on the right track, they were good, and then they just didn't have a purpose. You have a purpose. I have a purpose. And our purpose is to reach people for Jesus. Would you guys bow your heads with me? God, thank you so much that you entrusted us with your mission. Lord, I apologize for the times that I've taken that mission for granted, that I've turned that mission inward and focused on myself instead of other people. God, I pray that you would empower us, that you would give us the strength, and that you would give us those open doors where we can love others, where we can reach others, where we can take our mission seriously to the world around us, God. Lord, we love you. We praise you. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Hey, you guys, that was a great sermon there.
So good.
Thank you so much, Todd. I loved the just the idea that even in this time that we can still use. I'm pulling up my notes from Todd's sermon.
Come on.
You know, because he had God's plan for the world is you, and I was just like, that is so true. It's so true that like a lot of times we'll see issues around our neighborhood, our community, and we'll think, God, what are you doing? How could you allow this? And so often it's like, no, God's called us to step in and intervene on his behalf. Like we are his instruments. We are his tools. We are the body. We are the church. You know, and it's such an opportunity for us as Christians, as believers, to really step in and be the hands and feet of Jesus. And so we wanted to do something a little bit different.
Yep.
We wanted to do something a little bit different today, and we wanted to honestly give you guys some practical application, or honestly how to think about how to make this practical and how to apply it to your surroundings. So there's 3 areas that we want you guys to sit and take some time and just process how you can apply what we've just talked about in loving others. So the first one is your neighborhood, your neighbors, your neighborhood. What is one way you can love your neighbors and neighborhood in your area? Second, what is one way that you can love your friends, your friend group? What is one way that you can love them in this season? And the third is online. What is one way that you can be the hands and feet to love your social media, was it friends, or maybe you consider yourself an influencer, or whatever it may be? How do you influence your friend when it comes to your calling that Christ has put on your life? So we're going to take this time, whether you pause it, go get a pen and paper, and we want to provide some ideas, some applications of how this could work. So grab paper and pen. Come on back.
Do your thing. And if paper and pen doesn't work, that's okay. Put it on your laptop, your computer, wherever is best for you to memorize it. Put it in your reminders on your phone. And just want to say, if you're thinking, who is my neighbor? Like, what's the difference between a neighbor and a friend? A neighbor is just any person in your world who you are not prone to put yourself around, or maybe someone who is near you in proximity but not close.
Yeah.
As in, I don't really know that person. And so our challenge for you guys is to step outside of your comfort zone and understand that God isn't looking to use people that are perfect. He's looking at people that are available. And so during this time, during the worship, just think, reflect, pray, ask God for each of these 3 different categories. Where do you want me to go, God? What do you want me to do?
And let's start with that first one. So what was one thing you think when it comes to our neighbors that we could love our neighbors well, Griff?
That's a great question. I think reaching out to maybe somebody that I've thought of before, who's maybe a friend of a friend, or someone who maybe it's even someone who I have had a relationship with that fell apart with.
Yeah.
And or friendship that didn't end well. Maybe it's forgiving someone or reaching out in a way that, this doesn't feel right, because oftentimes the comfortable decision is usually the wrong decision when it comes to relationships. And so maybe even by me just saying that right there, you could think of 1 or 2 people who's like, it's out of my comfort zone to reach out to them.
Yeah.
And that's who I would challenge you to reach out to.
Yeah, and for me, a practical way of loving my neighbors is, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big lawn mower. I love mowing my lawn. And so sometimes I'll mow my lawn, and if I see my neighbor's lawn needs to be mowed, a great way is just like, I'll go knock on their door, like, hey, is it okay if I mow your lawn? I was mowing mine. I saw yours need to be mowed. Can I just mow it real quick for you? And it just starts a relationship, and that's a great way of just kind of like practically loving our neighbors, and it opens up a conversation or maybe just a relationship. And so that's a great way. The second thing, what's one easy way for these students to love their friends in this COVID season?
I love that. I think it's just asking the question. So if you love them well, you want to know what's going on inside of them, right? So I'm usually using language like this with my friends. How is your heart doing? And that sounds cliche. We've made that a cliche, I think, a lot of times in the church. But like, hey, how is your heart actually doing? Not what have you been up to? Not are you busy lately? It's how is your heart? And kind of get into that, and then really asking the question, how can I be praying for you? We believe in the power of prayer here. We believe that prayer is active and that God is alive, and so we want to connect to God. and see God work in our life. But one of the biggest ways that we do that is praying. And prayer is just a fancy way of saying talking to God, relating to God.
Yeah.
And so how can you be praying for your friends is one of the most
Yeah.
powerful things you could do for people.
Yeah, and I'm out in Brentwood, and there's this leader. His name's Will Bennett. He's well known, but he always asks, "How can I pray for you?" And I'm just like, every time I'm just kind of like, wow, like I
So
feel so
good.
loved, cared
Yep.
for. And then he'll text me sometimes telling me he did pray for me. My buddy
Wow.
is a youth pastor at another church in Brentwood. His name's Rocky, and he'll always text me when he's praying for me. Hey, dude, just got done praying for
It's
you.
beautiful.
Like, let me know if these things get answered or what you else need to pray for. So praying is one of those big ways to just love. And even for those, like if you're watching this and you're not a Christian, or most of your friends aren't Christian, like for myself growing up, I never ran into this obstacle where even my atheist friends
Yeah.
would reject prayer.
That's right.
Even my most atheist friends, when they were going through hardship or they were going through different times, like, hey, how can I just pray for you? They would still want prayer.
Yep.
And I think it's a great door opener, even like a door, just cracking the door a little bit for an opportunity to talk about Jesus by just asking your friends, hey, how can I pray for you? And number 3, what is one way online, social media, whatever it may be, that we can spread hope, spread joy? You do things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think there are like 2 parts of this. The first one would be simple as what Todd mentioned earlier, share a link.
Yeah.
So if you got something that has encouraged you, there's so much encouraging content for your faith. And if you got something that has encouraged you, resonated with your spirit and your faith, your walk, don't withhold that. Jesus describes the people of God as the light of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you bringing light to? What are you bringing light to in your world? And a part of that is spreading truth. And just so who we are isn't just confined to like this here. It's like it translates over to our online platforms as well. So I want what I post to be a reflection of who I am and what God's doing in my life. So share a link, share something encouraging. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there too. Who cares what people think?
Yeah. And
So-
I would really encourage you guys, whatever you're posting, make sure that it is pointing to God and to his heart. Because I think sometimes we can be so argumentative, especially in this season right now with politics, everything that's going on. It's like, hey, let's just post things that's honestly encouraging and really at the heart of who God is. And to follow it up, like sharing links, encouragement, things like that, even using like technology with FaceTiming and things like that. There's so many avenues digitally that you guys can be in community and really be encouraging people. It's so great to get a FaceTime sometimes or a Marco Polo or whatever it is over just like a text message. And so I'd really encourage you guys, utilize your platforms. So how can we love our neighbor? How can we love our friends? And how can we love people via the different ways online? You guys, we hope that as we go into this time of worship, those 3 areas, you guys can write it down. You can make some notes and really just make it practical this week as we really try hard to be the hands and feet, to love our neighbors, to love others well this week. I'm going to pray for us as we go into a time of worship.
Absolutely.
And then my hope and my prayer is that this week is different because we chose to be the hands and feet of Christ. Let's pray. God, thank you so much for this morning or this afternoon as we're watching it. Thank you for Todd's message. Thank you for the purpose that you've given us, God, the calling to be the hands and feet to go out loving the world, God. One of my favorite passages, Colossians 1:28, that we go out teaching to the best of our abilities, and that's what you're calling us to do, God, is to step out and to teach with the best that we've been given, not knowing everything and sometimes being a little insecure and fearful because we don't feel confident. But God, give us the strength, give us the wisdom, give us the knowledge to go out and just love others well. So, Lord, be with us. Be with us in a time of worship. Inspire us, God. Put a purpose on our heart to reach our community for you, to reach our friends for you, to utilize the avenues and influences you've given us for you, God. Be with us today in your name. Amen.
Hold me now in the hands that created the heavens. Find me now where the grace runs as deep as your scars. You pulled me from the clay. but you loved my whole heart through. Sin has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds me now. And that grace owns the ground where the grave did. And all my shame remains left for dead in your way. You crashed those age-old gates. You left no stone unturned. You stepped out of that grave and shouldered me all the way. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Once I was broken, but you loved my whole heart through. Sin has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds me now. Healed and forgiven. Look where my chains are now. Death has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds that ground. And your grace holds me now. 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 High in surrender, I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Once I was broken, but you loved my whole heart through. Sin has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds me now. Healed and forgiven. Look where my chains are now. Death has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds that ground. And your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me